Fellas, I've got to come clean. I have recently been called out by the Dutch. However, I just want to put it out there. All of these critical comments I received on my video a couple weeks back from the Dutch when I decided to cycle from Amsterdam to Utrecht, all those comments are very welcome and appreciated. I did state in the video quite upfront, I'm a beginner cyclist. I just got into the hobby as of this year, and I love it. I'm just very passionate about things, but I didn't try and come off as if I knew lots of things. It's more like, this is something I really enjoy, and I just wanted to share it and see what the infrastructure was like. And boy, how incredibly useful to get comments from a community full of people riding their bike to look at me and go, here's some things doing wrong. Absolutely. I am so thankful for this. I want to make this video to bring up some of the comments that you guys posted about my riding style, how I can improve it, because I feel like it can help a lot of people that cycled like me. That's right, past tense. We can learn. But also there were some comments that I want to disagree with, and maybe we can start a discourse. You can send your polite comments below. Anyway, first off, Conscious Adams here says, in addition to your seat being too high, spoilers, my seat was too high. I did say that in the video, but going on. I also think you're cycling in too high a gear. It's better for your knees, as well as more efficient, to choose a lower gear and pedal with a higher frequency in the 70 to 80 RPM range. Whoa. So this is something that I had never known of. I always thought that you just put your bike in the highest gear possible so that the least amount of work is translated to the most amount of power, if that makes any sense. So I would always try to get it into the highest gear imaginable because I thought that was the most efficient. Is it the most efficient for my knees? Probably not. I guess. I never would have thought to do that, especially for these long trips. But the comment actually is even more useful than that because they went on to say, it's better to pedal with the balls of your feet than the middle. Whoa. The ball of your foot is made to carry loads, your arches aren't, so it's better for your feet. In addition, it's more efficient, you can use your calf muscles more effectively. So I got this comment, and there's quite a few people that commented the same thing. It has changed the way I've cycled, actually. For the longest time, actually, for as long as I've lived, I have cycled with the pedal right there under the arch. It makes sense. It's like a little place for him, you know what I mean? You're holding your phone, you got this little place right here in your pinky. So I thought, same thing goes for the bike. And I've never had an issue with this in my entire life until this recent trip. Reason probably being because I haven't done a trip this long before. It's such a long trip. And if you're going to do something like that, you need to make sure your form is good because these types of things will compound. And so even though I found it completely normal to cycle like that with the pedal right there, I had to change it. And so the first couple days after I got back to London and I got these comments, I was like, what? Let me try this out. So I spend 2 or 3 days, and every time I'm out on my cycle, I'm putting my toes there on the toe cage, and I'm thinking, this is weird, okay? I don't want to do this. It feels uncomfortable. It feels so unnatural. And then after day 3, I was like, actually, it's fine. So it just took 3 days to get used to, but it's something that I'm happy to have changed because, you know, if it's more proper, if it's more efficient for using my other muscles correctly and also reduces the risk of me getting another injury, that's all great. Also, spoiler alert, that was not a joke. Fuck you. I got in a bad bike accident. It's not bad, but I got in quite an accident on my bike cycling in London. Luckily, I was gonna say no one else was hurt. It was just me and the cycle lane and London rainy weather. The cycle lane in question was quite curvy and it has a white hump to split the lanes up. And that white hump is so smooth and so frictionless that with a little bit of rain, boom, I took that turn, not going too fast, but completely lost control. I've actually had, maybe it's trauma because I'd say probably every night since that's happened, and it's been about a week and a half, as soon as I try and fall asleep, I get jolted awake because I can feel myself losing control of the bike and then being thrown off. It cut through my pair of trousers and also completely skinned my knee, dinged up all my appendages quite bad. The knee, I have been taking lots of ibuprofen and paracetamol on and off, and having to redress the bandage, which is still not healed. Either way, so I've been taking quite easy on the cycle recently, but just to give you an update, it's a rite of passage for some people to get in their little first bike accident, so I'll take it. All things considered, there could be worse accidents, you know? But to carry on with this content, a lot of Dutch were also very critical of the path that I chose, saying that there's a much better path on the east or west side, and I do know this. I actually specifically chose the path that I did because I wanted it not to be just the same cycleway. I wanted it to go through different towns. I wanted to go through Hilversum. I wanted to see the different infrastructure. So I know that it wasn't the fastest or the prettiest, but I did that on purpose so that I could see other things. Speaking of the other things that I saw, I also came across a town that I thought was so lovely. It was so cute and quaint. All the lawns were mowed. The trees looked pretty. And I was like, wow, this must be quite an upmarket town. And all the Dutch came to my comments to be like, mate, that is the most copy-paste Dutch town I've ever seen. It's actually quite mid. Wow, what does that tell you about the type of towns I'm used to in the UK and US? It just felt like they might have a homeowners association in this town. Like everything's felt so clean. So it's interesting that from my perspective, I was like, how lovely. And the Dutch were like, mate, it's a bit shit, innit? Or whatever they say. I don't know if there's an in it in Dutch. In it. Anyway, we also have a lot of comments about my use of German and Spanish. I did know that was going to come yet again. Some people very polite, thank you. It is funny that in the Netherlands, I kept defaulting to German and then there was Spanish when I could have just said sorry. Sorry? Honestly, I'll remember that. Thank you. Also, a lot of good, useful Dutch phrases that I'm hoping to pick up for my next time. Also, we have a comment here that I need your comments on right now. Is it mandatory to use the bell on the bike when passing someone? Because I got this comment and I went, is it? I'd like to not upload videos in which I break the law. I keep those videos private. You know, turns out from my Googling, it's not mandatory in the Netherlands or the UK or the US. It's encouraged, but it's not mandatory. Like different word choice there. From my perspective, I never really use the bike bell that often because in the UK, people just get so bent out of shape, mate. They treat that bike bell as if you're going, oi, get out the blooming cycle lane, which is what we're saying. But still, I wish there was like a ding dong and then a please, just a little please, please. That would be nice. But we don't have a please, please bell. So I don't really use the bell. I use it similarly to how I would use a car horn. I use it during moments where I think you really need to pay attention. Hey, not if I'm passing you, because I wouldn't use it when passing someone on the street, you know? So sometimes I will also say on your left, on your right. I feel like that's polite, but I definitely didn't ring the bell in the video a lot. So there you go. Do you think this is something I should pick up? I'm very, very welcome to pick up new habits, as hopefully I've shown through this video. Very excited about the whole toe cage thing. Also, speaking of the angle of my leg, I got this comment here. Where is he? I got this comment here that said, I was always taught your seat height should be so that your leg is at the highest point, making a 90-degree angle. Wow, I feel like that is something as well that I've been using whenever I need to rent a Lime bike around, because that way I can just easily, without thinking too hard, know, okay, it's about a 90-degree angle, useful. Thank you so much for these comments. There were quite a few comments as well, I will throw out there, about the fact that I tried to use a, quote, credit card, and that's clearly not a thing. I should have done my research. I've been to the Netherlands like 12 times. I've been to like more than just Amsterdam and Utrecht. I've been to like lots of different villages. I've been to Efteling, you know. I've been around town, and never once have I needed cash. So that's a thing. But also, not speaking of cash, I actually did bring my debit card. On my Apple Pay, I tried to use my debit card. I know that credit cards aren't as big a thing in the rest of Europe, so I didn't try to use my Amex there. Not all the time, but with that one, I was just so surprised that my debit card was declined, because that's never happened. So if there were also quite a few comments saying you should have just tried Apple Pay, and I was like, but maybe there's a language barrier. That's what I was trying to do. I do think it is probably a good idea, just for safety, to carry a bit of cash with you, no matter where you are in a foreign country, just in case these types of things come up. But listen, I got ADHD, and as soon as the ability to not carry cash became available, mate, I was on that. I was on that immediately. Especially when it comes to traveling and you have to carry separate currency to use abroad, and then you get your change, and then now you have to jingle jangle that with you all over the place, and then you end up coming home, and what do you do with it? You just put it in a jar. Oh, well, that's like, what, 15 euros worth of money. I'll just make sure I bring that next time. No, I don't, because I don't remember it. And then when I do remember it, I remember it, and I leave it by the door, and I forget it. So I just don't like the added mental decision-making that cash brings. This is just for me personally. So, hey, like I said, it's smart to bring some extra cash when you're traveling in a country that usually doesn't even need it that much, but maybe I'm not so smart. Hey, we'll accept it. I'm not. I've got this stupid brain thing with the with cash, and I just try and avoid it. In terms of any other comments we have here, we have, I can tell you're a non-Dutch cyclist by how much you look over your shoulder, even when on a bike path with barriers. You're panicked that a car is gonna hit you. Cause I am! I cycle here, man! I feel like in London, you just gotta make sure. I was always taught when driving that you might know everything about what's going on the road, but you must always believe no one else in this road does, all right? Maybe that's a New Jersey way of teaching, but I don't trust any of those drivers on the roads in New Jersey. I don't trust any of the cars in London. My goal is to make sure that even if I know I have the right of way, what's that gonna say on my gravestone when I'm dead? Well, he did have the right of way, mate. No, I'd rather not. So I'm still going to be checking behind me to make sure that the person behind me maybe isn't cycling and texting or something like that. As someone who has just gotten in a cycling accident that didn't involve a car, it still hurts quite a lot. So I'd rather not get in any accident. So any more visibility would be good. Personally, I think it might be a good idea if I get maybe some of those tiny wing mirrors that you can put on the bike's handlebars. That might be cool. I've seen glasses that you can see. Just why not have extra visibility? You know what I mean? We only have like 1 or 2 comments left. Thank you very much for watching this. Just want to throw it out there. I don't know what's going on algorithmically, but usually I treat the second channel like a diary. I've always had it as like, here's my little travel vlogs, and this is my girlfriend and I going to Madeira, and I get very few views, but I'm just happy to be able to create things to remember and look back on. All of a sudden, the last 2 videos have had 100,000 views each, so don't know what's going on. Thank you. Stressful. You're like, stressful. I did put a lot of time into the cycling video. I just didn't think it was good enough for my main channel, and it seems like the algorithm went, yes, it was. Fuck. Could have pushed back a Sunday upload. Anyway, one further comment here. There was a lot of comments, some more polite than others, saying, may I ask why you take a flight from Amsterdam to London instead of the train? It's faster and more comfy, no? Price could be more expensive, but I think it's worth it. So everyone has their own priorities. I just want to throw out there, if the train was the same price as a flight, I would be on it so often. It's lovely. I have taken the train to Amsterdam. As of last year, I went. It was such a lovely experience. You get on there at King's Cross, you sit back, you relax, and then you're there in Amsterdam. So nice. The issue is when the price is 5 times the amount, I just don't think the virtue signaling, or I don't know what it is, but the amount of people in the comments that it came for me as if I had chopped a koala in half. What a weird analogy. It was very strange. The price of my flight, which I booked with very last minute, was 120 quid. And the price of the train was 340. Now, you might have a huge surplus of extra expendable income that you can go, oh, for me, it's worth it to spend 3 times the price. For me, not really. That's not something that I'm willing to spend 3 times the price for. If it was 120 versus 150, absolutely, every time. I would totally take the train. It's so much nicer. But if the price is that different, I know it's nicer. I feel like the same argument could be said about why did you book economy? It's so much better if you fly first class. Yes, of course it is, but it also costs more money. You got to balance these things. And I know that I'm a public figure on YouTube and such, but a lot of my decisions, are just decisions that are practical in terms of finance and stuff like that. I'm not necessarily making decisions to go, what will make my audience think I'm the most cool and eco-friendly? That'd be cool, but I make decisions practically, taking everything in, not just how my audience perceives me or just finance. There are other things as well. Like I said, if the train was a little bit more, I'd also get it because it's nice. In my opinion, it'd be a pretty good thing if governments really wanted to promote trains, as they're so much better for the environment, if they could subsidize that a bit more. If governments made it so that taking trains were cheaper than taking flights, well then I feel like that'd be better. But I feel like putting the onus on the individual person who's, just trying to save a few bucks. You know what I mean? Yet again, another topic that you can disagree with me on. I'd love to hear your comments, as long as everyone's super cool and polite. Hi, slightly different camera angle for this bit, because I just wanted to make sure I brought up this intersection. A lot of you pointed out that I did some things wrong with this intersection, so I felt like, why not just show what it looks like on Google Maps here? So I decided to take this little bit here of the cycleway, crossed over, because my thought was, well, this is a roundabout. As you can see from the image, there's a car coming that way. Obviously, the cycle path goes around the roundabout, but my thought was, I'm in Europe, similar to America. You're supposed to be on the right side of the road. And roundabout-wise, you're meant to go, as this car is, in a counterclockwise direction. And so when I'm approaching an intersection and I see cars whipping around, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna make sure I go the right way. So I took a little right turn here, went down this way, and then was like, uh-oh, I don't get it. How do I join back? It turns out if you follow this cycleway like this, you can see it just goes around completely. Look, that guy's just living it up. He's cycling on his path. So it turns out you can just counterintuitively go the opposite way around the roundabout because you're not actually in the roundabout. The roundabout is for cars. The cycle lane's like, roundabout? Don't need that. So yeah, yet again, so much I learned from all of your comments. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching this one. If you want an update on my life, I'm actually going to Chicago and Toronto and the Midwest and New Jersey and New York. I'm doing a whole trip basically next week. Very exciting. Doing some collabs while I'm out there, and hopefully there'll be some videos on this channel coming soon. So thank you as always for checking this out, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.